She was always into mischief. She had lots of friends, and she was beautiful.
She had a real sense of humour, and nothing ever got her down.
I wish I had longer with her. And I wish I'd appreciated the time that I did have with her.
There was no shortage of people wanting to say goodbye, no shortage of devastation or tears. A memorial like countless others maybe, but maybe not how we think the life of a rough sleeper might be remembered.
And Mum, I'll always love you.
In another lifetime, this was Jayne Simpson, a happy teenager who spent her youth on the Isle of Wight. But by the time Channel 4 News first met Jayne 8 months ago, aged 52 and in Stafford, the trials of life on the street were etched onto her. The night before, Jayne had tried to take her own life.
Jay, promise me something, okay? Never do that again.
I know, that's twice this year then.
Twice. Never do that again.
Jayne did survive the winter, but not the summer. She died last month. On the morning of July 11th, Jayne's body was discovered in this doorway in the town centre. Wesley was her neighbour. He still sleeps in the same spot.
There's so many people that talked about her death, right?
Yeah. So what was she like? What was, she was your neighbour.
Well, she was funny, kind. She's just a lovely woman.
According to the post-mortem, Jayne died of natural causes, albeit after decades of fighting addiction. Hers, though, is just one of many similar deaths. In fact, according to ongoing research by the Bureau of Investigative Journalism, since last October, 133 homeless people have died in the UK.
We had lots of opportunities where Jayne could have taken a more positive path, and she chose not to. And that's hard for us because we're always seeking ways to help people in whatever way we can. So, bless you, Jayne, this didn't need to happen.
So the question is, just how does the life of this young woman descend so desperately it eventually ends alone on the streets? According to Jayne's mother, it all began at 15 when she started drinking. The drinking increased, but at 21 something would happen, the ripples from which would be felt forevermore. Jayne's unborn baby died.
And because she'd gone so far, she had to have a normal birth. Her baby was born. He was beautiful, beautiful red-headed boy. He was warm, and I couldn't believe that he wasn't alive. And Jayne didn't grieve properly. It was awful. She carried on drinking.
Did the drinking get worse then after the stillbirth?
Yeah.
Jayne would eventually have 5 children, but the cycle of addiction that dictated her life meant that all 5 would be adopted out. This is her 3rd child, Tia.
So when you think about your mum, what do you think about?
The good times. I didn't know her for very long because I was adopted. I met her in 2009. She wasn't on the drink, she wasn't on the drugs. She was a completely different woman.
At that point, things were stable.
Yeah.
She was off the drink.
Yeah, then she had a couple of mates that lived across the road from her, and they was bringing bottles in the house. So that triggered my mum, because it was there around her, she started drinking. Yeah. And that's where she fell in the loophole and then got in with the wrong people. The last time I seen her before she passed, just a completely different woman. Didn't look how I remembered her, didn't speak the way I remembered her.
How long had it been since you'd seen her at that point?
About 2.5 years, 3 years. We'd lost touch. We made up and then she just spiralled again.
In the last years, both Tia and her grandmother were desperate to help Jayne. Help that Jayne's addictions overruled.
I always had this awful thought that one day I might get a phone call to say something had happened to her. She was so beautiful. She got all her life in front of her. She was a lovely person. And yet I couldn't help her at the end when she was dying in a doorway.
Everyone knows a Jayne, say her family, say the charity that supported her and paid for her funeral. But what they hope Jayne's legacy might be is that the next time we see a rough sleeper, we remember that they too might have a family, loved ones, a past, and just maybe, a future too.